Before I proceed, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of my colleagues, the Honorable Edsel C. Lagman, First District of Albay, who's also a member, Attorney Ferdinand Gaite, Party List Bayan, also a member, the Honorable Rowena Nina Taduran, Party List ACT-CIS, also a member, the Honorable Alfred Vargas, 5th District of Quezon City, whom I invited personally to attend this committee hearing because of his involvement in the entertainment industry even before he became a congressman. The Honorable Marisol C. Panota, 2nd District Camarines Norte, also a member. And the Honorable Precious Hipólito Costello, 2nd District of Quezon City, and the Assistant Majority Leader. For this morning's meeting, we will be continuing our deliberation into the unfortunate death of Mr. Eddie Garcia, which we have initiated last week in consideration of House Bill 181, authored by Deputy Speaker Michael Odilon Romero, and House Resolution 195, also authored by House Resolution 195, authored by Deputy Speaker El Rey Duterte, both seeking to look into the adequacy or inadequacy of occupational safety and health standards for workers in the entertainment industry. In our previous meetings, our resource persons shared details of what transpired during the unfortunate incident which caused the untimely death of veteran actor Eddie Garcia, also known as Manoy. It was very clear that during that unfortunate incident, there were no first aid personnel present, and even safety officer and other like ambulances and other facilities during the location shoot. The absence of a safety officer was resulted to the unfortunate series of events ranging from how the first responders should have reacted and what are the necessary steps that everyone should have undertaken that could have at least saved the life of Mr. Garcia. However, I would like to remind our members and our resource persons present here today that this meeting was called primarily to gather facts on the said incident so that it may be able to proceed in enacting remedial laws for the benefit of our workers in the industry. We will also be deliberating upon 6 other measures of the same subject. These are House Resolution number 670, authored by Representative Raymond Democrático Mendoza, which specifically directs the committee to investigate the Eddie Garcia case, and bills proposing various measures to safeguard the welfare and well-being of workers in the entertainment industry, namely House Bill number 81 by Representative Ronnie et al. And Alfred C. de los Santos, House Bill number 1019 by Representative Francis Hipólito Costello, House Bill number 1766 by Representative Luis El Rey Duterte, House Bill number 4875 by Representative Rufus Rodriguez, and House Bill number 5596 by Representatives John Marvin U. Servo Nieto, Edward Vera Perez Maceda, Dale Arno Malapitan, Eric Martinez, and Rolando Valeriano. We also have House Bill number 2476 by Representative Rowena Nina Taduran and Jocelyn Tulfo, which seeks to provide protection, security, and benefits for media workers. This bill is specific to a subsector of public media, but we will take it up together with those for the entertainment subsector. Let us see if we can merge these concerns and come up with a more encompassing set of labor standards as envisioned by the Nieto Bill and to some extent Costello Bill. I hope that I am using the right terms here, but suffice to say that in our understanding, media and the entertainment industry are related and should be thus studied together. That being said, may I at this juncture direct the committee secretary To acknowledge our resource persons for today's meeting, Madam Secretary, please proceed. Before you proceed, Madam Secretary, I would like to welcome another House member, the Honorable Leonardo Babasa, Junior, Second District Sampanga del Sur, member of this committee.
Good morning, everyone. For today's committee meeting, we have the following resource persons and guests. From the government sector, we have Attorney Sara Buena Esmerasol of DOLE NCR, or Department of Labor and Employment. Director Lilibet Cagara of OSH, or Occupational Safety and Health Center. Dr. Maria Imelda Santos, also of OSH. And Dr. Marco Antonio S. Valeros of PWC, DOLE. Engineer Noel C. Binag of the Occupational Safety and Health Center. Deputy Executive Director Attorney Jonathan Villasoto and Attorney Clarence Orjalo of Employees Compensation Commission. Attorney Tasel Maramag, Institute for Labor Studies, or ILS. Attorney Maria Victoria Garong of Social Security System. Attorney Jose Roberto Empo, HDMM or Pag-ibig. Attorney Lynn Delfin and Attorney Eduardo Santos, GMA Network Incorporated. Mr. Rez Cortez of Actors Guild of the Philippines. Miss Olivia L. Romero, partner of Mr. Eddie Garcia and mother of our representative Michael L. Romero. Miss Liza Diño of Field Development Council of the Philippines and Mr. Seguerra. Mr. Paulo L. Villaluna of the Directors Guild of the Philippines. Mr. Don T. Remo, our writer and director. Miss Malu Manikis of the Artist Movement. Miss Maria Jeremy S. Kiambao of CMB, Film Services Incorporated. Mr. Carlitos Siguion-Reyna also of the Directors Guild of the Philippines. Mr. Bong Guro of NAPSI. Mr. Louis Caral. Mr. Alan Tanhusay, and Mr. Arthur Fuego, and Mr. Dem Tihon, all of Trade Union Congress of the Philippines, and Mr. Robert F. Maronilia of the Employers Confederation of the Philippines. We have also Mr. Benjamin Miguel Alvero of Centro ng mga nagkakaisa at progresibong manggagawa. That would be all, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Let's welcome another member of this committee and Vice Chair, Honorable Raymond Mendoza of the party list TUCP. We're also honored by the presence of one of the veteran actors that I admired for a long time, Mr. Bembol Rocco. Welcome po, sir, to this committee. We will now proceed to the consideration of the 9 measures being in this committee seeking to look to the death of Mr. Garcia in relation to the adequacy of labor standards for workers in the entertainment industry. May we hear from the authors? First, the Honorable Raymond Mendoza for House Resolution number 670.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Good morning, colleagues. and resource person, especially in the film industry. Mr. Chair, there are about 5 bills calling for a law that is that would be more like a Republic Act 1105 rather, in which the occupational safety and health. And there are 2 resolutions I see, Mr. Chair. One is actually yours truly, entitled House Resolution directing the House Committee on Labor and Employment to investigate the death of actor Eddie Garcia and conduct an inquiry into the implementation of the occupational safety and health standards law in the media and the entertainment industry. Mr. Chair, this is our second hearing. I would like to defer and I would like to listen more on the resource person. I've spoken much on the last hearing. I think that was last week. So there is another resolution by Congressman Vilma Fuerte. As I've already mentioned, laws should be enacted, but an investigation should be launched, especially on what has happened to our idol, Manny Garcia. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, the Honorable Mendoza. Let's now proceed to the Honorable Representative Precious Hippolyto Costello for House Bill number 1019.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. So my proposed House bill, is actually the objective of this is to regulate and set a cap for the working hours for showbiz, entertainment, TV, and movie personalities. From my point of view, Mr. Chairman, since I was once upon a time also a member of the industry when I was young, once upon a time, so we were not given a limit of hours, of working hours, since we are contracted or contractors, no? Hindi naman po kami regular employees. So hindi rin po yan per hour ang bayad sa amin o ang aming kontrata. So most likely and most of the time, umaabot kami, Mr. Chairman, ng 24 hours or even beyond. So at the time, I was healthy. Of course, I was young. But how about the other workers, not just the frontliners, but as well as the ones behind the production? Hindi natin alam, most of them, or probably all of them, have medical condition. So, syempre, since dahil sila po ay, most of them belong to the marginalized sector, at ito naman po inaasahan nila sa kanilang kabuhayan, ay talagang ini-stretch nila yung kakayanan nila beyond their medical and health condition. So, Mr. Chairman, at isa pa, hindi rin po cover ng labor code, ano po, kahit na meron silang insurance, medical and death insurance. I was speaking with Ma'am Bambi Mirasol kanina of Dole, ay hindi po talaga covered at hindi sufficient. So, Mr. Chairman, I hope and pray that this honorable august body will intelligently discuss and approve of my proposed House bill that will set a cap and a working regulation, a good working condition for our showbiz, TV, and movie personalities. Thank you.
Thank you, the Honorable Precious Hippolyto Costello. If I may ask, I presume you started when you were still a young child actress?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, just
So-
like you.
So by now, I
Nagkaklas na
presume
Enzo.
you are 21 years old now?
Wish ko lang po, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
We now proceed to Representative Rowena Nina Taduran for House Bill number 2476.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning to my fellow House members in the 18th Congress, and good morning to our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Just like soldiers, media people must always be on the front line. Well, they really have no choice because their job calls for it. They have to be there for the news when it happens, as it happens. As they call it nowadays, media people must be on ground zero in real time. This is because late news is no longer news, it's history. Have we ever thought of the daily perils and challenges encountered by the fourth state? Do we even know the hazards of their trade? We learn the news in the comfort of our homes, in our air-conditioned offices, while aboard our cars, etc. But what about them? How did they get the news? Did they risk life and limb just to have something to report to the populace? Media workers, just like you and me, are human beings. They have the same needs as everyone. But for the longest time, they have been one of the neglected sectors of our society in terms of economic and social benefits. This is true despite their almost daily proximity to the powers that be. They report the unfavorable conditions of others, yet they are available to report their own misery. Quite ironic, isn't it? It is very much like a doctor who cannot cure himself, or an attorney who must not be his own lawyer. Thus, it is imperative that we take the cudgels for those brave individuals so that their conditions in life can be improved. Media reportage is a thankless job. Imagine the dangers in a battlefield, in a no man's land in Taal, in a plague-stricken area, etc. What if the reporter is hit by a stray bullet in a police operation? What will the reporter do if he loses the use of his leg after an accident while at work? What happens to their families? At the very least, media workers must have job security, economic, health, and other social benefits, as well as adequate protection from harm or threats thereof, as a consequence of the reportage. Because of where I come from, this bill is really closest to my heart. Katulad nga po na nasabi ni Kong Castelo, ako rin po naging media practitioner for 30 years. So I really hope and pray that my dream of an economically and socially secure media worker will come to fruition. Hence, I implore my colleagues in this august chamber to support the passage of this bill. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, the Honorable Nina Duran. 30 years.
Yes po.
Doesn't look like. Or maybe you started when you were 10 years old.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We now proceed to the House Bill number 1766 of the Representative El Rey Villabert, sponsored by the Honorable Ed Salakman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Office of Representative El Rey Villabert Jr. requested presentation to sponsor his House Bill number 1766 and the companion resolution House Bill number 195. With respect to House Bill number 1766, may I adopt the explanatory note as the sponsorship message, and with respect to House Bill to resolution number 195, may I adopt the whereas clauses as the sponsorship message of Representative Villaluna. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, duly noted. Before we proceed with the proper discussions of this numerous House bills, there is a request from, for that, may I, because I invited my good friend here, the Honorable Alfred Vargas, who is not a member, but he was and still part of the entertainment industry. So we would just want to get his insights before we proceed with the proper discussion. Representative Vargas, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Today I wear my showbiz hat because I've been an actor and I wouldn't be where I am if I were not an actor. I fully support House Bill 0181 authored by Representative Mikey Romero in consolidation with all the other bills today. And as a member of the industry, I think it is important, it is imperative that we also see it as when we talk about health, we should also talk about well-being. So let me go through this by starting with the call time. Before the call time, we receive our scripts late in the evening already, especially in telenovelas. And we have a call time, and we follow the call time that will be around 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. Sometimes it's 6 a.m. if it's out of town. But if it's out of town, kailangan mapuyat ka, you will leave around 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. So automatic, when attendance is taken, automatic, pagpuyat ka because of the call time. Disadvantage na yun to your health. And you might not be able to perform, especially if there's a very, very high high requirement, high physical requirement like stunts, sword fights, gun fights, fist fights as scenes. So pag call time mo, you will be already briefed, tapos meron ka ng makeup, i-makeupan ka na and you will prepare. And your call time doesn't necessarily mean makukunan ka kagad. Diba? It could mean 1 hour to 4 hours before ka makunan. And there was one time in my experience, I was called at 7 a.m. My first scene was shot at 7 a.m. the following day already. That was not so good experience. And I'm concerned, siguro yung mga sikat na mga artista, mga big time stars, they are okay pero they will also benefit from this. But I'm more concerned for the bid players, for the extras, for the utility people, contractors, including directors kasi we don't have job security at all. Kami, we're only good as our last project or as our last call time and backup. And if we talk about it this later, I'm going to discuss the importance of subsections also. Pero this bill, I'm very close, hindi naman very close, but I'm close to Tito Eddie Garcia because I worked with him in 2 projects. And siguro ito na rin yung legacy niya sa atin, so that hindi lang yung mga sikat, yung mga maisasama rito, pero yung mga talagang trabahador ng pelikulang Pilipino, ng showbiz, yung mga maliliit na trabahador manggagawa natin dito. And we really have to protect them. We really have to protect everybody, and this measure is long overdue. That's why I seek for the approval of this measure. I have a concern on sections pertaining to House Bill 0181, Section 8, 9, and 10. Section 8 is accidents on the workplace, Section 9, penalties and sanctions, and Section 10, papagsamahin ko na lang po. It is imperative that the DOLE, as the implementing agency, that handles the enforcement and the sanctions. It is important that whenever this bill becomes a law, it is imperative that enforcement should be 100%. Kasi ito pong batas na to, whether we like it or not, this will entail additional costs sa producer. And kailangan dito, lahat ng producers sumusunod, lahat ng networks sumusunod. Kapag may palusutin tayo, na kahit isa dito, malulugi yung mga actors, malulugi yung mga talents sa ibang na sumusunod because the others will end up having cheaper services available. So dapat po dito 100% implementation para hindi naman po kami mawalan ng trabaho. Kukunin na lang yung iba na hindi sumusunod pagkatapos kaming mga sumusunod or susunod ay kami yung malalagay sa alangan. And I laud all the authors. I also filed a similar resolution. It's House Resolution 022. And as being part of the showbiz family, and being an actor myself, Mr. Chairman, I fully support this measure, and rest assured, if you need my help and I would be at your disposal. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, the Honorable Alfred Vargas. If I may, so the problem is there is no employer-employee relationship between the actors, the crews, the bit players. So, kung ang call time mo is 6, what about the crew? Much earlier.
Usually, at the latest, 1 hour later, usually 2 hours before yung call time before. So,
Are
talaga,
you entitled to overtime pay?
whatever.
So,
The concept,
you have paid your talent fees on what?
for example, you're paid a talent fee of 100%. Kahit
Yung
isa lang ang
talent
eksena mo.
revenue is on a per project or per shooting day?
If it's telenovela, in most of the cases, it's per day.
It is per day.
Per day.
When you
Whereas if
say
it's a
per day,
movie, it's a
that's,
contract.
the consideration there is not 8 hours but 24 hours.
Yes, ang the body language, yung perception is hawak ka for 24 hours or from call time to backup, which can be up to 26 hours, sometimes 27, sometimes 28 hours.
So you are paid only for 1 day, not 8 hours but for 24 hours.
Yes, from call time to backup.
What about yung mga the bit players, yung mga extras?
Yes, usually
They're also paid per day.
they're also paid per day, and usually they're the first to arrive and last to leave.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Vargas. May we now go? Well, we have already asked the opinion of most of the resource persons here, but before we proceed, there is a request from the lifetime partner of Eddie Garcia, Miss Olivia Romero. She requested us to show the clipping of the video of the unfortunate incident. May we request for the lights to be turned off, and then we can view it from this big screen here.